It's podcast time. The Ben Herrera and Starlito Show. A Black River Studios podcast. Enjoy the show.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's episode. My microphone's too far away from my face, so I'm gonna move it. Oops, I did the wrong one. You know what? That's sad. That is sad. Pushed the wrong button. There. Tighten this thing up. Hi, how's everybody doing tonight? So tonight, hold on, let me move it up just a tad too, so that way I can actually look at you guys. Anyway, so tonight is a Twisted Tuesday night, which is basically reading stories from, the internet and seeing basically weird, crazy stories. But before we do that, let's give it to our sponsor, Southside Cuts. Be right back.
Southside Cuts, located at 375 Columbia Avenue, right here in Holland. They are open weekly from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Call them at 616-836-7502 to book your next appointment. If your business is looking to become a sponsor, don't hesitate to call us for more information at 616-405-0542 or 616-850-4819.
Oh, there I am. I actually have a new view. Right here. Hi. Well, the camera's over there. Let's see. There's a camera there. There's a camera up there. There's a camera right there. Right here. No, right there. I'm getting these cameras mixed up. There's a camera right here. And a camera right here. All right, so we got 5 cameras. Wow, 5. I wanted to get a camera that was facing this way, but why would you want to see the screens? That's just not it. Anyway, so tonight's episode, like I said, is going to be based on weird, crazy stories, Twisted Tuesday. So let's go ahead and start off. But first, Starlito has the night off. See, he's not here, as you can see. Look, see, he's not here. Look, see. Anyway, so Starlito has the night off. But anyways, tonight's episode is Twisted Tuesday. So I'm going to start reading these weird stories. And let me know if anything like that. Well, obviously, this first one I'm pretty sure has never happened to anybody else that I know of. But this was actually really weird. So it states that this lady was talking about something that happened in her life. So she says, my 5-year-old son died in 2020. My good friend kept telling me you need to move on. And eventually I coped. 2 months later, she moved to another state for a new job. It was very sudden. One day I decided to make a surprise visit. When she saw me, she turned pale. Okay? So remember, her son died. Her friend moved away. So one day she thought, you know what, I'm going to go visit my friend in this other state. But it doesn't state where and how far away. So it says, one day I decided, when she saw me, she turned pale. I went in and I almost fainted when I saw my son's photos covering her walls. What? That's okay. Weird. Some of them I couldn't even recall sharing with her. So if you had a friend that obviously knew your child and you walked in on something like that, I mean, that would be weird, just that part. But then I would also be thinking, like, wait a minute, why the heck do you have my son's pictures in your house? So it says, then to my shock, I found some of his clothes on her sofa. And who know? But it doesn't say. Okay, 2 months later. So okay, 2 months later, after her friend told her to, you need to get over it. You need to move on. So alongside of a box containing his shoes and socks, the whole scene felt disturbingly eerie. That sounds weird. See, now if I walked in on something like that, I'd be like, "What the hell is happening right now?" I would think, is this real? Is this really happening right now? So she says, when I asked how she told me that my husband had given them to her. It's true, my husband and I had decided to pack away my son's belongings as part of moving forward, but I never imagined he'd given them to her. And she started shaking. She says, "What up, Tracy? How you doing? Thank you for tuning in. My babe is online." And so I knew she had loved him deeply. She had always longed for a child of her own. Okay, I see that. But this felt like an unhealthy obsession. Without another word, I grabbed the box and left. That was the last time I saw her. So if you had a friend that was obviously obsessed with that woman's child, I would be like, no, you took it too far. We're not friends anymore. This is weird. But she says that. She said I never saw her after that. Okay. I would probably never visit her either. Starlito has the night off. But Pepsi's here though. Pepsi, can you sponsor us? That would be great. Anyway, so I'm going to read another one. And again, these are weird stories that apparently happen to people in real life. The first one was kind of weird, but it says, on the morning of my mother's funeral, I didn't want to get out of bed. I did not want to socialize or thank people for coming. As I lay there, I felt the bed compress as if someone had sat on it. I swear she was telling me one last time to get the fuck up before I was late. That's what it says. I'll even show you. Look. Mira. Says it right here. Mira. But, yes, it is just me tonight. Thank you, babe. No, so, yeah, of course, people's had those situations where a family member passed away and they, obviously either saw them, felt them there, or whatever it is. It happens. But for that to happen, yeah, get up, get out of bed, go tell your family, friends, whatever it is, whoever showed up to your mother's funeral, and thank them for showing up. Because I, on one end, would already be out there. So, yeah. So, it's kind of weird that there is a lot of, situations where you're like, either that happened to you or you know somebody that's happened to. Let's go ahead and continue. This happened when I was a kid. I used to sleep with my door closed. Well, obviously, a lot of people do. What are you talking about? And I had no idea what time it was. But I heard my door creak open. When I opened my eyes, I could only make out the figure of a strange tall man with a hat and a coat. This is already scary. He just sat on my bed and stared at my door. This went on for a few minutes before he got up and left. I don't have many memories of my childhood, but this one I can relive very well. I mean, I've never had that happen, but I have had people say that stuff like that has happened. Like I felt somebody sit on my bed or my door open. What up, Nick Sorano? What's going on? But you know, stuff like that is like creepy because who the hell was that guy? Like, she says she only remembers him wearing a hat and a coat. So was he naked? Was he naked underneath? Obviously, you're naked under your clothes, but strong, strange, tall man with a hat and a coat. Hat and a coat. I mean, what would it be? I don't get it. What would you think if somebody came and sat on my bed and I was in a position of either not obviously. Well, she said she was a kid, so I mean, some people remember stuff like that. But if I was a kid and I literally had somebody sitting on a bed and was like, you know, staring at my door, I'd be like, "What the heck are you doing?" You know, I would at least would have said something. But you know, as time went on, you know, you get older and you some people will forget stuff like that. But I mean, that one was weird. That one would probably stick with me for a while too. And welcome to the new view. So back to this view. No, but that one definitely was weird. Wait, where's the other stories? Oh, here's another one. What up, Daisy? How you doing? Again, Marcos has the night off. Okay, so here's another. Let's see. Here's another weird one. Okay, so this is another weird um, middle of the night thing, whatever. So it says, I woke up in the middle of the night to someone standing next to my bed. I thought I knew who it was. In parentheses, she says, a friend and this person shared the same physique. So, okay, hold on, this stupid thing. Okay, here we go. Sorry, this ad popped up. So, okay, I'm right here. But then I remembered that they don't drive, and I had never given them my address. Wait a minute. So your friend never had your address? Anyway, I talked to my parents in the morning, but they had never woken up. Besides, this person was rail thin. Definitely neither my mom nor dad. I still don't know 100% of what happened. The night was a blur, and I remember only bits and pieces. Okay, so if you only remember bits and pieces, then it was probably a dream. That one is definitely probably a dream. And so I think what people don't realize is, um, you know, your dreams may be real, feel real, obviously. Yeah, because we've all had those dreams where you're like, you wake up the next day, it was like, was that real or did I just have a dream? Obviously, you had a dream because you just woke up. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy. I mean, stuff like that obviously is weird, but that one sounded more like a dream. Okay, here's another one. So my dad is one of those completely serious types. I have hardly ever heard him laugh or crack a joke. Well, then that guy sounds boring, then. Really boring. So, you pretty much take what he says seriously. Anyway, we were watching some random TV show, UFO Files or Ancient Aliens, and I asked him if he believed in UFOs or aliens. He proceeded to tell me a story I have never heard him tell before. Apparently, when he was a teenager, he and my great-grandmother were on their back porch one evening in a very rural southern Mississippi, it's saying, in the 70s, and noticed a huge object hovering over the wood line a few hundred yards from the house. Then suddenly it ascended vertically at an impossible speed. He said he couldn't explain what it was and Hasn't seen anything like that since. Obviously, UFO story. So I've actually had stuff like that. Not that, but I've had UFO situations happen, and but I feel like stuff like that could probably happen anytime, anywhere in the United States, because there's a lot of places around here that have had stories that tell of UFOs. So I can believe that one because I've witnessed stuff myself, and not because I've seen it, because there's so much stories out there that people are talking about UFOs and things like that, and I think like that stuff's real. I mean, if you actually think about it, out of all the times in our lifetime, you can't sit here and tell me that the Earth, our Earth, where we live, is the only one out there in the universe with living creatures on it. I mean, think about it. With all the Earth, I mean, all the universe, our solar systems, there's millions of other solar systems. You can't tell me that Earth is the only spot that has people living on it. I'm saying people, I mean, obviously other beings, but there has to be. There's no way that we're by ourselves. Would it be? That's actually something that I want to ask. Is there anybody out there that believes in UFOs and has actually seen one? So yeah, that was actually a crazy situation, a crazy story. That one was actually cool. I like that one. So we'll go ahead and do one more. Time is it? Oh, I've only been on 16 minutes. What the frick? Anyway, so I'll read one more and then we'll go to commercial break. So this one says, let's see. Oh, that one's a ghost one, but excuse me, we've heard those. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Here's a good one. So it says, one summer when I was around 13, my mom and I were sitting in the living room talking late at night. For some reason, we looked out the window and saw two people walking past our house. Normal. Okay. There were about seven. Wait. Okay, this is where it got weird. They were about 7 feet tall and wearing silver parkas. I don't know what that is. What is this? What is a parka? Let's look that up. What is a silver parka? What does that look like? Let's see. Uh, so basically a coat. It's a coat. Okay, so hold on. The internet's going slow for some odd reason. Right. Come on. We'll take that one off because I don't even know what that's doing. Come on. What the frick? Why is the internet going slow all of a sudden? You know, I don't know what to do. Let's exit, get off, reload. Okay, here we go. Hold on, let me get back to that story. Okay. It was hot and humid outside. As they passed our house, the pipes and the chimney started shaking violently. The frick kind of house you guys live in? And it didn't stop until the people were out of sight. There weren't any pipes in our chimney. It was it. Then why would you say that? You said they okay. So they said the pipes in the chimney started shaking violently. So why would you say that if you didn't have pipes in the chimney? You said it like you had them already and you already knew they were there. And then wait, oh wait, we don't have pipes in this. Well, then why would you say that? Anyway, so that's what happened. It was an eerie sight. So I'll be right back, and I'm gonna do this quick commercial. You guys stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Here at Black River Studios, we offer great deals, best prices, and high quality content. So if you're looking to advertise your business, be sure to get with Black River Studios for your next photo session, DJ booking, or music recording. We also do a live podcast called The Ben Herrera Show, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. on Facebook Live. We teamed up with Alpha One Music and Goat Entertainment to provide great content for the Holland community. There's no place like home, as they always say, so here, we are your home for entertainment, music videos, and films. Be sure to hit us up for your next event. Call us at 616-405-0542 or 616-850-4819. Or check us out at our website at www.brstudiosllc.com. We are also on every major social media platform.
All right, welcome back, everybody. This is the Ben Herrera and Starlito show. And Starlito has a night off again, like I said earlier. So here's the thing that I want to share as well. Now, you saw that commercial. You saw the sponsor video in the beginning. So look at it as your business could be there. So we do have competitive pricing, affordable pricing for your commercial. We also film your commercial. We could put it on the air like we just showed you, and your commercial will show during these episodes. So if you have a small business or something that is just opened up, something that you know people will like, they need to know about your business, let me know, and I can make a commercial for you. We all got a good team here. We can film it for you, make you look great, put your business out there for a cheap price. Not cheap price. Well, you know what I mean. It's good quality service for a good price. That's what I'm trying to say. So don't forget to, again, if you forget the info, send me a text message on Messenger, and I will send you that same picture, and you can look at it. So let's get on with the show with our stories. Twisted Tuesday. Let's see if there's any other creepy ones. I like creepy stories. Let's see what we can find here. Okay, so here's the one. Now, I'm sure there's been people that say, "Oh, well, I've had stuff like that happen before." You know, growing up. Hold on, I gotta turn this that way so that way I can. Oh, jeez Louise. Okay, turn it that way. Okay, we got it. So you have those stories where, you know, you're home alone. You hear something in a distance, and you don't know where it's coming from. Whatever. So here's a story that I want to read. So she says, I don't know if this is a guy or a girl, but anyways. So they say, my sister and I were home alone when we heard someone running up the stairs. Okay. The stairs make lots of noise with slight pressure, as the old houses do. Even if it's a new house, they'll do it. Yeah. So it states so when there's someone big on them. So only fat people make noises? What are you trying to say? So you can tell. I went out of my room to check, but saw no one there. No one anywhere. My sister also came out of her room and asked if that was me, and I said no. So are they both big fat ladies? What? I don't get it. They just said it's only so when there's someone big on them. Adult maybe? Okay, say adult. You guys are making it like only fat people. Anyway. So, and nothing against, I'm not saying anything against it. That's just what that sounded like. Let's see. I said no, but we both looked around to see if there was anyone. But we found no one in the whole house. Okay, well then who was running up the stairs? We were confused, so we called our parents and just waited until they got back, and that was that. Right. Those are the times when you're like, okay, because I remember stuff like that at a house that I used to live in. and over by South Haven. And there was always like, you could tell that that house was haunted, you could tell. But it, there was, okay, so I remember walking out of the bathroom, and I swear I saw somebody in the living room walking towards me. Like I was going to get out of the way because I was going through a doorway. And it just came right at me. And so I was like, how is that possible if I don't even know who that was? And I can't, I didn't see a face or anything, but it was weird. It was creepy. But that's literally what happened that day. So let's pick a different one. Let's see here. Oh, here's a good story. So this is a story about a best friend and them having a sleepover, and they were in ninth grade. So I was in grade 9. My best friend and I were having a sleepover at my house. My parents and younger brother were visiting family, so we were home alone. Okay. After it got dark outside, we started watching a movie while laying on the separate couches, facing a TV situated next to a door frame that led to the kitchen, bedrooms, and basement. Okay. In a matter of seconds, I saw a feminine figure standing in the doorway facing me, and for some reason, I instinctively said, "Don't, don't leave me." Okay. Why would you say that? My friend lying on the other couch also saw the figure and said to me, "Don't worry, he'll go away in a second," thinking it was my younger brother. Wait a minute, you just said your brother was not home, so why would you think that was your brother? Okay, so the figure just faded away, kind of like mist, into the other room. We looked at each other and realized what had just happened, then quickly turned on all the lights and sat on the same couch. We're 28 now and still have no idea or what that was or why I said that, but I still think about it often. Hmm. So those are those type of. What up, John? What's going on, John Ortiz? What up, Gisela? You know, those are those type of stories that you're like, what the hell? What's going on right now? But then you got to sit and realize, like, at least I wasn't the only one that saw it, because I would be like, I got to get proof that that happened. So if you have a witness, that's a lot better, because then you can be like, oh, look what we just saw. Look what we just went through. And you can share your story, because then you have somebody that'll back you up. But if you're obviously home alone, you have that one person that apparently didn't see it. They're not going to believe you. They'll probably end up slapping you in the face because you're lying. Not really, but still. It's something that, you got to look at it as like, right. So let's. I'm never going to be home by myself ever again. At least in that house. So I wonder if they still live there, actually. If their family still lives in that house. All right, so that was a few stories that I was reading, and those were pretty decent. They were interesting. Yeah. Excuse me. Sorry. Jeez, Louise. Here's a weird one. What up? Okay, so it says, I have a twin sister who has 4 kids. She's always asking me to babysit for free. No. 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 There's no free babysitting. Because, well, wait, how old were those kids? Especially if any of them are in diapers. There's no free. No. So, and I never refuse. Oh my gosh. So you do it for free. Really? No. Because you got to feed the kids. You got to either bathe them, put them to bed, whatever. Anyway, and my mom praised me for being such a good auntie. And then that story just ended out of nowhere. Never mind on that one. That one, they didn't even put the whole story in here. How stupid. Yeah, that was weird. Okay, let's see what else we got here. All right. Spook. It's Twisted Tuesday, so just weird stories. Okay. Oh, you know what? Maybe I gotta click on something. Oh, that's what I got. Let me go backwards. Hold on, everybody. Hold on. Let me get to this other thing. Let's see. Never mind. This isn't Paranormal Thursday. If you want to talk about spooks, we can. I don't. Well, it's kind of like a little bit of both, actually. Now that you say that, because actually, I'm gonna do. Let's. You know what? You just made me want to do that. I'm gonna put creepy stories. That's a good one, Jeremy. Thank you for that. All right, so let's look up creepy stories because we can do whatever we want. It's our show. Um, horror stories. My favorite short, scary story. Okay, let's see. See what this one has to offer. Alrighty then. Who's in my bed? This is a great one. Oh, these are short stories. Okay, cool. So these are scary stories for John Ortiz. So this one's called Who's in My Bed? Ooh, who is in your bed? You better be your wife or whatever. A father went to say goodnight to his 7-year-old son, very well knowing that if he didn't, his son would have trouble sleeping. It was a nightly routine between both of them. He entered the dimly lit room where his son waited under his blanket. With the first glance, the father could tell there was something unusual about his son tonight. Oh, wait. But couldn't put his finger on it. He looked the same but had a grin that drew from ear to ear. If you walked into your kid's room and they were in a dimly lit room, smiling, probably looking straight up, what would you think? I mean, I wouldn't even walk in that room. A horror, the second one. I mean, we could do horror stories too. Anyways, so it says, you okay, buddy? The father asked. The son nodded, still with the grin, before saying, Daddy, check for monsters under my bed. I already know where this is going, and I haven't even read this one yet. Says the father chuckled a bit before getting on his knees to check, only to satisfy his son. Like any father would do. Check under the bed, check the closet, blah, blah, blah. There, under the bed, pale and afraid, was his son. Oh my God. His real son, he whispered. Daddy, there's someone on my bed. Okay, so if that happened to me, if I ever walked into my kid's room and they said that, we would have moved out months ago. First, I would have taken a picture. No, that was my chair. But yeah, that's actually creepy. I mean, if I ever had a situation like that, I would definitely be, okay, son, we got to get out of here. We'll be back. I mean, it is, to me, is like freaking weird. The red wristband. Let's read that one. See, this is another thing that I like of horror stories. Not slutty horror stories, but horror scary movies. But anyway, so I like where, because you have those ghost shows and stuff like that. I like the ones where, the hospital ones. And anybody that works at a hospital and probably seen things know what I'm talking about. Because there's those ones that are like, watch, I mean, actually, you know what? There's a hospital one that I think it's on Travel Channel, or it could be on HBO Max, whatever. But I think there's a newer season coming up. But let me read this one. It says a doctor was working at a hospital with patients, what? Where the patients were tagged with colored bands, green alive, red deceased. Well, that's weird. Why would they still be there if they were deceased? That doesn't make any sense. But whatever. So one night, the doctor was instructed to get a few supplies from the basement of the hospital. And we all know in basements, 90% of basements in hospitals is probably where the morgue is. Duh. So anyway, and so he headed to the lift. The lift doors opened and there was a patient inside, minding her own business. Patients were allowed to roam around the hospital to stretch, especially those who have stayed long. Okay, that makes sense. Why wouldn't that make sense? Where was that? Oh, stay long. The rule was to be back in their rooms before 10 o'clock. Okay, that makes sense. The doctor smiled at the patient before pressing the number for the basement. He found it unusual that the woman didn't have a button already pressed. Okay, this is already getting creepy. He wondered if she was heading to the basement too. But then why wouldn't she push the button to... whatever. The lift finally reached the floor where the doors opened. In the distance, a man was limping towards the elevator. Okay, that's creepy by itself. And in a panic, the doctor slammed the elevator button to close. It finally did, and then the lift began to ascend back up to the doctor's heart. To ascend back up, the doctor's heart was pounding. Yeah, you're scared. You're crapless. Wait, what does that even mean? Anyway, and okay, so and then it says, "Why did you do that?" He was trying to use the lift, the woman stated, annoyed. "Did you see his wrist?" the doctor asked. "It was red. He died last night. I would know because I did his surgery." So you killed this man? This man died because of you? No, I'm just kidding. The woman lifted her wrist and he saw red. She smiled. Like this one? She was dead too. What the frick? Okay, that was weird. That was actually pretty cool. See, and that's the thing is I like the hospital ones because what the frick? So hospitals are creepy and I hate them. Because people die there. Like, I mean, did you see Blood In, Blood Out? I mean, county, people die there. But yeah, let's go ahead and read one more, and then we'll go to a commercial break. So this one is called White with Red. Again, these are creepy stories, little stories to tell in the dark when you're by yourself with only a light on your phone. A man just moved into an apartment and heads to the receptionist to get his keys. Normal. The receptionist gave him the key with a smile, but warns him not to disturb the door with no number on his floor. Okay. He wondered why, but didn't bother to ask. He was too busy with his new apartment to care. After he finished unpacking, he began to get curious, of course. So if you ever had a situation like that and you're like, why? I mean, is there somebody over there that doesn't want to be disturbed that much? That everybody that in that apartment complex had to leave him alone? No. Okay, so that was weird. He questioned why the receptionist would warn him of such things. And so he stepped out of his apartment and to check the door with no number. This is weird. This is actually really weird. This is actually creepy and a sign from God. I'm dead serious what I'm about to tell you guys. Before I came into the podcast, this is creepy, and I'm 100%. This is true of God's real. I'm being I'm being serious, people. Okay, so so I was in the other room. Anybody that's excuse me, anybody that's been in the studio knows that where the editing room is. And I was in there before the podcast, getting ready, doing my research. And I was literally thinking of a story just like this. Because I was like, man, I got to come up with another horror movie to write. This story that I'm reading right now is literally very close to the story I was thinking about. And I'd never read this one. I'm 100 on the Holy Bible, I'd never read this. And it's literally almost to a T of what I was thinking about it should be. Oh, great. This is creepy. So let me finish reading this. He tried the doorknob first, but it was locked. So instead he got onto his knees and peeked through the keyhole. Okay. The apartment, of course, this obviously had to be an old door because doors nowadays don't have keyholes like that. The apartment he was looking into was empty. His eyes scanned the whole place before stopping at a woman. Standing face against a wall in the corner. Okay. I was like, wait a minute, what's going on right now? So he noticed her pale skin and long black hair before stepping back. Suddenly feeling perverted in a way for invading someone else's privacy, he brushed it off, assuming she was someone that did not want to be disturbed. Okay. That, to me, was like, why would you think that? She's obviously staring at a wall in the corner. She looks pale. But what? The next day he got more curious about the woman and eventually went back, straight away getting onto his knees. He peeked through the keyhole and saw red. Red. He assumed the pale woman must have caught him peeking the last time and covered the hole with something red. Maybe. He left the door alone and instead went down to the receptionist to ask questions. The receptionist sighed and asked, "You looked through the keyhole, didn't you?" Oh, my Lord. He admitted to it, and so she felt obligated to tell him the story. She told him that the couple that used to live in that apartment a long time ago, but the husband went crazy and killed his wife. However, this couple wasn't normal. Whoa. However, this couple wasn't normal. They had pale skin, black eyes, and black hair and red eyes. That's 100% very close to what I was thinking. Creepy. That wasn't anyway. So, I mean, to me, it's like, that's very close to what I was thinking of a story, 100%. Maybe not the red eyes thing, but yeah. Whew, that's creepy. I'm lost. I'm lost for words. But anyways. All right, well, I'm going to do one more commercial, and I will be right back to, we got about 5 more minutes, and we'll call it a night. But I will be right back. Welcome back to welcome back to the Ben Herrera and Starlito show. Again, Starlito took the night off, and he will return soon. Anyways, so yeah, that was a weird story. That was actually, like, you know, I'm not going to give away my story, but that 100, I'd say 94% close to my story idea. But anyways, all right. Well, it is, what time is it? 8:47, and well, I'm going to go ahead and probably call it a night. Maybe I'll read one more. Let's read one more. So this is a short story. Perfect timing because it's a short story, and yeah. So here we go. A daughter. Oh, this one's called A Mother's Call. A mother's call. A daughter was in her room upstairs doing her homework when suddenly she heard her mother call to come down for dinner. Okay. She jumped onto her feet and began making her way towards the stairs. But before she even took a step, hands grabbed her and pulled her into the laundry room beside the staircase. Okay. She panicked before realizing it was her mother, her real mother. Eyes watering and bloodshot. Don't go down there, honey. I heard it too. Oh my gosh. Okay, so if anybody's listening to this podcast later on all your local platform or social media platforms, such as Amazon Music, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, it goes on. And you're listening to this in your car. These stories are creepy. But I would tell you something, that a lot of stories like this. Does anybody remember that book, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark? That's what that reminds me of, stuff like that. And so, I mean, now if you heard a voice in your house like that, and somebody else heard it and actually was responding to it, like that story you just heard, how insane is that? So, we're going to go ahead and call it a night, and end it like that. So if you hear somebody calling your name, don't answer it unless you for sure 100% know that it's who you think it is. A loved one, family member, whatever. Your loved ones, friend, whatever. That would be creepy. Yes, goose. What is a goose bumps? You said goose bumps. But I got what you mean. Goosebumps, yes. So, yeah, I mean, that's creepy. All right, so we're going to go ahead and call it a night. I got to edit this video. You all have a good night, and thank you for listening to these short stories, creepy stories, and twisted stories, however you want to look at it. I don't know if John Ortiz is still listening, but there's your spooky stories. But anyways, you have a good night, everybody. Drive safe, and you drive with your headlights on, because, well, it's freaking getting to a point where it's getting dark early. We all hate that. It's going to be dark at 4 o'clock next week. But anyways. All right, everybody have a good night. I'll see you tomorrow night. Whatever Wednesday. Stay tuned. And again, if you're a business, you're looking for some commercials, get a hold of Black River Studios on Messenger, aka me. And let me know what you want. Let me know, and we will talk price then. Everyone have a good night. Yes, and have a blessed night, of course. Because without God, nothing's possible. So, but anything is, or what, did I say that wrong? But with God, anything is possible. That's what I should have said. But anyways, everybody have a good night, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. Peace.
And that's it for tonight's episode. Hope you enjoyed. The Ben Herrera and Starlito Show. A Black River Studios podcast. Thanks for watching.